Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Motivation. So I hope you are feeling motivated for your Monday, your morning and your week. No moaning, that doesn't really help with motivation. So in case you are catching this for the first time, maybe somebody has shared it onto their timeline and you're thinking, who's this person on here? Perhaps you're one of the people that I was really privileged to meet and work with last week, and you're thinking, oh, she said something about Monday motivation. I'm just going to have a little peek to see what that's about. If that's you, then welcome. And especially if you are one of the people who come and join these every single week at 7 a.m. live UK, or I think it's 5 p.m. on a Monday in New Zealand, and sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning in Dallas in America. Thank you, wherever you're watching and whoever you are. So this is it's designed to be around 20 minutes, and this is a little way of motivating your Monday, your morning and your week. And I'm saying good morning with a lot of relief to Alan, who's been very quiet this week. So hi Alan, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your message as well. It calmed me down, let's just say. So every Monday, right here on this page, I provide a little bit of Monday motivation for your Monday, your morning and your week. And here's why. Monday can get a really bad rap. You know, in so many people's eyes, Monday's a day to not look forward to. You know, I hate Mondays and all of those sorts of mantras. But you might recognise yourself as somebody who looks forward to Mondays, wants to get started, wants to get going, and just wants to get into their week. Or you might recognise yourself as someone that goes, oh my gosh, I've got so much to do, I don't know what to do first. Or you might even recognise yourself as someone who's like, yeah, I love Mondays, I want to get going, and you like a little spark of motivation to start your day too. Wherever you are with your love or loathe of Mondays, I hope that this video will give you just the kickstart to really ramp up your week. So I am formally trained as a life coach and life experience, I guess, as a learning and development specialist, a training specialist, and I love helping adults to really grasp the stuff that they already know well and go even better, do even better, be more. You know, recently I was very privileged to hear a young man called Vex King, who I'd only recently come across his work. Very big on Instagram, really big on Instagram. But Vex King gave a description to something called self-love that I hadn't heard before. Now, you know, self-love is a pretty hot topic in the personal development space. And he said I'm paraphrasing him, he said it a lot better than I know I will, but he said something like, it's the ability to recognise the best in ourselves while also looking at our ability to do even more for ourselves, or something like that. And I thought that was a really great way to position that topic. And I would say that Monday motivation are for those of you, whether you're feeling motivated or demotivated, but I'd also say that it's really great to recognise that whilst you're motivated, you know, life is good, all is well, and that you're enough in everything that you do, to also recognise the spaces, the areas, and sometimes the shadows, the things being behind our back that we don't quite see, where we could use a bit more motivation. So with that, I'm going to say A up. Ian says, "Hey up, good morning Jenny and Alan and everyone else who's watching." And the reason, by the way, that we always greet each other with this "Hey up" is because Ian lives in Yorkshire in the UK. And for those of you who are from the UK and have heard a Yorkshire accent, it will make perfect sense. And for those of you who watch back, my friends from America, my friends from Hong Kong, you know, my Facebook friends from all over the world, that's the reason why. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about the subject of this morning's Monday motivation. What could be better than that? And let me tell you where it came from. So as I go around and I either speak to live audiences, teach live, and often do Facebook lives and live streams, I get to meet a plethora of different people, but the people that I mainly get to meet are normally business owners. They would describe themselves as entrepreneurial types. I also get to meet a lot of professionals, because that's kind of the core of the people I work with. So those of you who have started a business are likely to have been a professional and then started a business. Those of you that have always been entrepreneurs, I get your world now, but haven't always been an entrepreneurial business owner myself. And one of the things that I find, whether you're in that space, the business owner space, or whether you're a professional person space, so maybe you're working for a business that's not your own, you're working for an organisation. In fact, last week I spoke to a very small, intimate group, which I love speaking to, by the way. So if you have groups or work for an organisation and you want somebody to come in and either do some sort of bespoke training for your senior team or your leadership team, or you like to encourage and harness, I can't speak today, encourage and harness personal development within your culture, then please do hit the message button at the top here and do get in contact, because I'm already starting to book my my speaking and my slots, I guess. I've already got some booked as far in as April for next year. So do get in contact, because it's one of the things I love to do. Empowering your teams, empowering your people, empowering your women in business even. So when we were having a chat last week and having this session last week, one of the things that came up in the session is something actually that comes up in a lot of places that I speak. Hey Rosalind, good morning, waving back at you. Thank you for joining, and thank you for taking the time to say morning. So one of the things that comes up a lot are setting goals. Another thing that comes up a lot, interestingly, because I've been a speaker coach for many years, is public speaking. And then something else that often comes up, especially at this time of year, when people start to look forward to the rest of this year that's remaining and what they want and their aspirations for the following year, normally comes up around relationships and health. So people start to think about how their health could be different, or how their relationships could be different. They might be single and looking for love, or they might be wanting to harness, professional relationships even more than they already do. Now, I don't specialise in relationships. I don't specialise in health and well-being. But some of the principles of what I'm about to share are very similar to be able to attain those goals. But what I am going to share are what we classically call goal setting. Now, I know that some of you might not like the term goal setting. It might feel too harsh. So whatever or however you language it, it might be an intention, it might be an objective, it might be a desire. Whatever you term it as, you take it as your own. For the purposes of this, I'm going to refer to it as a goal, because it's most commonly known amongst many people. And for some of the people that I speak to within organisations, I know that it's that time of year for appraisals, and that's like a year-long goal, isn't it? So as we come towards the end of the year. So what would be better than that? Why did I call this Monday Motivation that? Why did I call it what would be better than that? Well, quite often when we have a desire or a goal, the people that I tend to speak to, and especially the ones that I get to work with closely, because I get to find out a bit more about what's going on. And when I say work with closely, I'm mainly and specifically talking about coaching and mentoring clients. One of the things that comes up for them is that there's something that they want to achieve. Now, I have people that range from, I want to achieve this thing, it has to happen this way, this way, this way, this way, and they have this whole thing mapped out in their head, which sometimes means that when the goal comes in in another way, or an opportunity presents itself for the goal to come in another way, they don't always see it coming, because they've kind of got the tunnel vision for one. And then I've got the other side of the spectrum, where I have my people that say, you know what, I know what I want, I'm going to put it out there and let the universe bring it in, And then obviously I've got people that are in between. And the bit in between is what I want to speak to today. The bit in between is where you know that you can put it out there, and you also maybe worry or overthink or just get really concerned with, well, how on earth is that going to happen? And I've plucked out a very specific coaching question that I ask in a part of a process that I take people through, that really helps them to get, honed in on what they want. And by the way, people who have gone through this process have done things like been able to get a promotion that they've been seeking. People that have gone through this process, including myself, have been able to get opportunities to do things for organisations, for press, for different people in different places that I'd previously honestly not thought was possible for me. When you have those goals, does anyone ever have a goal where they think, yeah, that I'm sure that's fine for somebody else, but that's not going to work for me? Give me maybe a thumbs up or a love heart if you have. I don't think I'm the only person to have had that feeling in my whole 4 decades or 4 and a bit decades on the planet, or nearly 5. And I know from the conversations that I have with people that they have those too. One of the things that I really like to do, regardless of where you are on that spectrum of goal setting, got everything marked down to a T, just putting it out there and see what comes back, or yeah, it's out there, but now I'm wondering how that's going to happen. I'm overthinking it. One of the things that I tend to do is always ask for clarity. And clarity comes from a decision. And although this seems like a basic thing to say, you may have heard me say something similar before. Whenever we decide to do something, we really take on that ownership, really take on that decision, that's where the magic almost starts to happen. I know Ian here is a runner, and there was a point where he wasn't a runner, yet he would have said at one point, like, I'm deciding that I'm going to do this no matter how hard it gets, no matter how tough it feels, no matter what the weather's like, no matter whether I feel like doing it or not, I am deciding to do this thing. And there his goal was set, the decision was made. So that's a really strong part of the decision and the goal setting process, of the goal achieving process. So look at just one of the goals that you might have in your life, and if something popped up as I was having this conversation, well, let's play with that through this session. So have a look at the goal that you've got, and ask yourself truly, doesn't need to be shared with anyone else unless you want it to, have you honestly 100% made the decision and committed to it? I know certainly for myself, I know certainly for the people that I get to speak to and get to coach and work with, that sometimes we haven't really committed. There'll be an area of indecision. There's a very good reason for that. Too big a reason to cover in full on this live, but mainly because there are some underlying concerns, and there are ways of kind of clearing those out of the way as well. And once you clear concerns out of the way, by the way, it means one of two things. You're either free to proceed, or you might have some insight as to actually why it's not a good idea to proceed with a goal, thus saving time, energy, getting you out of overwhelm, and all of those sorts of great things. So neither's kind of like good or bad, right or wrong. One is just going to get you a different result, or another result. Okay, so the question that I tend to ask once somebody has made the decision of going for a goal or an intention or something like that is, they might have some elements of doubt, or the way that they language their goal. And the reason that I pay specific attention to language is I'm an expert in linguistics too, in a very kind of thin stream, and that stream of linguistics is around how people speak to themselves internally and how they communicate with others. So let's call it communication. I'm not a grammar queen, for sure. Anyone that's seen my posts will know that. So the linguistics that I specialise in doesn't come to perfect grammar or diction or anything else like that. But it's really how we use our language on ourselves, and how we use our language in relationship with others. So, good, I have got my water here today. So how we use the language on ourselves, and how we use the language in relationship with others. And this is really important, because how we do that has the ability to start us, motivate us, get us going, keep us going, or just to stop us. I'll just take a sip of my water. Of course, all other brands are available. So That's so this is why I'm so interested in this particular sentence, and the sentence was the title of this Facebook Live. What could be better than that? Because one of the first things that people do once they've decided to go for the goal is they will start to claim that goal. And within claiming it, what do I mean by claiming it? They'll start to talk about why they want to achieve the goal. But very quickly, it's human nature and important, because all our language does, the way we speak to ourselves, the way we speak to other people, all that does is give us clarity as to what's going on under the surface. And often it's things we're not consciously aware of or we don't see. And language can be a prickly subject when somebody is challenged on something that they've said or how they've said it. Okay, so if you've ever felt yourself challenged in that way, it's just because you're probably unearthing something that you weren't consciously aware of, and it feels a little bit strange when you have an insight to yourself that you weren't previously aware of. For some people it feels really empowering, really motivational, and for a very small percentage it kind of jars, you know, so again, that's okay too. So when describing the thing that the person wants, the thing that they want to achieve, or anything else like that, I will often, right at the start, from the linguistics of what they're saying, either to themselves or to others or to both, I will often ask them a question. And for example, let's say, and I had an interesting conversation like this a couple of weeks ago actually with somebody, and this is a recurring theme where they talk about like giving a presentation. They've got to give a presentation at this thing or at a meeting or to a team or, you know, to some clients. And people often expect them to like doing the thing, but they feel a bit nervous about it, or they don't really enjoy the experience. So they'll be saying it, I would, you know, something like, yeah, I'd really like to be really great at doing this thing. But, and then they'll talk about all the things they don't like about it. You know, it makes me feel a bit anxious. Already I'm starting to wonder whether it's what I want to do, or I'm not feeling 100% great about it, or something else like that. And at that point, this is when you ask yourself the question, and I would write this down because it needs to be asked specifically in this way. So let's say they say, oh, you know, I'm starting to feel nervous about this thing. Then I would ask the question, what would be better than feeling nervous about that thing? If they say it like that, I will repeat it back to them, because if you start to change the syntax of somebody else's language, then they feel a difference, and it kind of just doesn't resonate on the same level. It kind of jars a little bit. They don't hear it in the way that it's intended back to them, and they don't get to see what's possible for them. Okay, so what would be better than starting to feel nervous about that already? The reason why this is such a motivational question, an empowering question for the person concerned, including you if you're asking yourself this question, is because in order to be able to see the answer and get to that answer, you need to think about the thing that you truly want. And quite often we can kind of get in this like ball of, yeah, but it's scary, but I don't like it, and all the reasons why. And all that does, again, is unearth what might not have been you've been consciously aware of. And you can keep going and keep digging until you get to the thing, the leverage point. You know, I remember many years ago using a similar technique. I remember asking somebody that said they wanted to give up smoking, you know, why they didn't want to smoke anymore. And they gave me their answers. And I asked this, so what would be better than the thing that they said? And you would think if somebody wanted to stop smoking, they wanted to be a non-smoker. That's it. But actually, when we asked these questions, underneath it all, it turned out that they wanted more energy, more zest. They wanted to be able to feel like they were keeping up with their family. They felt that it had maybe prematurely aged them a little bit. And that was their stuff. Whereas if you'd asked another person who was smoking, their individual reasons would be different. And this is why it's important to answer what would be better than that question. Because when you're asking that, what would be better than that, it gives you the chance to go into the thought, the feelings, the sensations of what it is that you actually want, and why you, not anybody else well-meaning around you, but why you actually want it. So I'm curious. Do you have a thing, an item, a goal, an intent, you know, an objective that you think that you could work with just for this week, just to try this out for size. If you do, give me a thumbs up or a love heart. And most importantly, don't keep this a secret. Do share this. Share this on your timeline. Share it on your normal, your normal personal timeline, because you never know who might need to hear this message and have this motivation. So what I'd really like to hear is, even if you're watching this on the replay, have a think about the goal that you have. And if you would like to share it, please share it in the comments below. And here's why I ask you to share it in the comments below. Yes, this is a public page, and so if you feel happy to share just a snippet of what it is, just a kind of a title, a headline of what it is, this is because when people watch these back, because sometimes I know that you tell me you watch these back again, or when somebody is watching this and they see something that somebody else has put, it gets their juices flowing for them to really dig deep into what's going on for themselves. It's a possibly one of the best ways to be able to have a ripple effect. So that's the reason I ask. If, however, you're saying, but Jenny, it's a public page, I don't want to put anything on there, then what I would suggest you do is hit the visit group button at the top of this page, go into the Visibility Vibes Tribe, which I think is one of the softest places to land right here on Facebook, maybe unbiased, and there you can share what your Monday motivation is. Just put the hashtag Monday motivation and share your thing there. And the reason that I say that is because you're able to have a dialogue with people who aren't your friends and family, aren't on your normal timeline. You've got like a bit of a safe space to be able to have that conversation with other people that really get what it is you do. So, Rosalind's got a great one that's come up there. She says, I've committed over this weekend by setting up a Facebook group. Yay! I know I did it to make myself post on it. It's got that thing where it says, I've got another device. It cuts off the end of that. So let me have a look and read that out properly, Rosalind. So thank you for posting that. I am going to read that out in full. Yeah, so one of the things that happens when you guys post your comments onto here, it really encourages other people. So Rosalind says she's committed over this weekend by setting up a Facebook group. She says she did it to make herself post on it, be consistent and look after the members. What would be better than now is being engaged and accountable. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's one of the things that I love speaking about and sharing. As wearing my visibility hat, my Queen of Being Seen hat, one of the most asked questions I get is around engagement. Engagement, accountability and consistency. So it's one of those things that I love to answer. So often I will share snippets of information to help with that. So, do ask your questions in the Vibes Tribe too as well, Rosalind, if you have any. I know that many of the Vibers there have got experience of running groups as well, as have I. So, do feel free to post your questions in there. But what I really want to say, Rosalind, is well done. You've made the decision, you've made the commitment, and you've gone for it, and you've posted, and you're accountable. So I absolutely love that. So that's brilliant. Alan says, new book at publisher by Christmas. And I love that, because something to know about Alan is that this is not his first book. Alan has published quite a few books, and his life story is extraordinary. So do go into the Vibes Tribe, because I know Alan's in there too. Go and say hello to him. Go and tag him and say, tell us about your life story. Perhaps sometime soon Alan will be doing a reintroduction of himself in the group, because people are coming in all the time. If you haven't heard Alan's story, it's absolutely amazing. Ian says he's ready to experience another awesome week full of adventures and possibilities, and I love that. Would you be willing to share one of those adventures or possibilities, Ian? Maybe to motivate somebody else who might not be in that same space just yet. I'd love to hear about that. So thank you so much for much for watching. Please do share this with somebody else that you might know. And I've got something really cool that's going to be coming up I would say in the next 6 weeks, without my diary in hand. So before the end of this year, something really cool, really exciting that's going to be coming up. That's going to enhance, whether you're in that corporate space or whether you're in that entrepreneurial space, it's going to be enhancing ways that you can be visible. You know, just this year I look back at some of the great opportunities that I've had, you know, places that I've been able to speak and share, you know, share my gifts in the world, and I want you to be able to do the same thing in a really easy and comfortable way. So I'm going to be sharing more about how you can do that at a price point that's probably the lowest that I've ever offered anything to. So that will give you accountability, consistency, and be good fun in the process. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sharing. And if you're watching this on the replay, you know, do play along, do share on here. I'd love to see what your goals are and what your intent is for this week, so that we can all support you as we see that. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.